start our forum. The League of Women Voters is pleased to present this General Issues Forum for the candidates running for St. Louis County District 1 Commissioner. This forum is scheduled for 1 hour. At this point, we would ask you to turn off all cell phones. Personal photos, videotaping, or recording of this forum is not allowed. My name is Susie Darley Hill, and I serve as the Voter Service Co-Chair for the League of Women Voters Duluth. Moderating this forum tonight is Mary Strufert. Mary is a member of the League of Women Voters in Duluth and a trained and certified League of Women Voters moderator. Mary will introduce the forum and the candidates in a few minutes. We are also providing an American Sign Language supported format this evening. Amanda Gilderman and Karen Sheldon are providing these services. We also thank Lisa Richardson, who is making CART service available this evening. The League of Women Voters has had a presence in this community as a nonpartisan political organization for over 90 years. It is the League's mission to promote citizen involvement in government and increase public understanding of major public policy issues. We believe that an informed citizenry is the foundation of effective democracy. The League of Women Voters is open to membership for men and women who are interested in nonpartisan civic participation, and you are invited to join us. You can find out more information on our website, www.lwvduluth.org. That's LWV all one word, .org. You can also pick up membership forms on your way out, or speak directly with any of our members attending tonight's event. The filming of this forum is being provided by PACT TV. A copy of the filming will be available online at our League of Women Voters Duluth website, along with the schedule of PACT TV showings. Those who are interested in finding information about same-day registration, your voting district, or your polling location can stop by the League of Women Voters table outside, and we will help link you to that data. This evening, you received some materials from Speak Your Piece, the Civility Project. One is a green-colored card that lists the 9 tenets of civility. On the white sheet is a listing of expectations of you, the audience members, as this forum proceeds. Because the League of Women Voters has always structured our forums in a way that promotes civility, this is a civility-certified event. Speak Your Piece, the Civility Project, is an initiative of the Duluth Superior Area Community Foundation and the League of Women Voters Duluth. The Foundation and LWV Duluth would like to thank you in advance and the candidates for your cooperation. Please remember to exercise your right to vote in the general election on Tuesday, November 4th.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Strufert, and I will be your moderator for this evening's program. On behalf of the League of Women Voters, I welcome you. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan volunteer organization that works at the local, state, and national level to encourage citizens to participate in government. While we as a league do study and take stands on issues, we do not endorse or support political parties or candidates. The views expressed at tonight's candidate forum are those of the participating candidates and not those of the League of Women Voters. Additionally, the League of Women Voters sponsorship of this forum is not a league endorsement of any of the individual candidates participating. At this time, I would like to introduce the candidates running for the office of St. Louis County District 1 Commissioner on November 4th. Sitting on my immediate right is Jim Booth, and next to him is Frank Jewell. Our forum tonight will begin with each of the candidates giving a 2-minute opening statement, followed by a questioning round. First to be asked are questions solicited and vetted by our organizing committee. These will be followed by questions from the audience members as time allows. Candidates were not given the questions in advance. Each candidate will be given 1 minute in which to provide their response. The questioning round has been set up so each candidate will be asked questions in a rotating order. The order in which the candidates will respond was determined at random, and we will rotate the responses throughout the evening. We would like to encourage audience members to submit questions of their own if desired. Index cards are provided. There were some in the back, by the back door, and if you need one, just raise your hand and somebody will bring you one. Please write your question as legibly as possible on the index card provided and pass them to the end of the row so our aides can collect them. All submitted questions will be assessed for clarity and bias. Those that fall into the same general category will be consolidated. This will allow us to cover as many topics as possible in the time allotted. Questions that are deemed unclear, hostile, or of a personal nature will not be used. All questions become the property of the League of Women Voters. If time allots or questions begin to become redundant, we may allow time for a lightning round. In this case, the candidate will be given a 1 or 2 word topic and asked to give a top-of-the-head response in 15 seconds or less. After the questioning round is completed, each candidate will be allowed a 1-minute summary statement prior to the end of the forum. The candidates will now provide their prepared introduction, starting with Frank Jewell. This was determined by a flip of a coin prior to the forum starting.
Thank you,
Frank?
Mary. I'm delighted to be here. Delighted to be involved in something the League of Women Voters is doing. Their long history is certainly something that has brought an expansion of voter information and knowledge to the whole area. You know, we live in the biggest county east of the Mississippi, one that is beautiful and incredibly diverse, from the lake here in Duluth to the boundary waters to the border lakes region of this county, from our medical clinics in Duluth, which are complex and amazingly productive, to the mines on the Iron Range. They are places that bring us the jobs we need, the resources we need to be a really great county. We also are a complex government institution, from our police, or actually our sheriff's department, to our roads and bridges, nearly 3,000 miles of them, to the septic systems that we monitor and assure are taken care of. We work hard to produce the very best kind of government for our citizens. One piece of that is a county budget that is vetted by all of our commissioners, and in each of the 3 times I've voted, we have come in under the rate of inflation and our increase in our tax rate. That is really an efficient use of funding, and I continue to be committed to that kind of work, both efficient and effective.
Thank you. Booth?
Thank you, Mary, and thank you for the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum. My vision for the future is a commissioner that will work with the other commissioners to get things done for this county. Roads and grounds, like my Commissioner Jewell said, we have 3,000 miles of roads. About half of those are paved. We have over 600 bridges. In our district, we only have a few of those roads. So when we need help with, let's say, the port, we have to work with those commissioners in the 4th District and 6th District to get things done with the roads and grounds, so they'll help us with the port. You have to be a team player to be on this commission. With safety, the Sheriff's Department, deputy sheriffs, we have to support our deputy sheriffs and the volunteer rescue squad. And with the health and human services, we have to provide the very best services for our most vulnerable, our elderly, and our veterans. And so as your commissioner, I would strive to work with the other commissioners and to provide the very best services that we could as a county.
Thank you. Now we will begin the questioning portion of tonight's forum. And these are questions that that have been vetted by our organization. But I do want to remind that if any of you have questions, raise your hand and somebody will bring you a card. Each candidate will be given 1 minute to respond, and we will begin with Jim Booth. And the question for you is, what are your priorities for funding county programs in the face of rising costs?
Well, my priority is not to raise the budget, to work within that budget. I think too many of our citizens are low to moderate income, and any raise, even if it's underneath the rate of inflation, is too much for them to handle. I believe that we have to do the very best jobs we can with the health and human services. As I said, are most vulnerable, the mentally ill, the elderly, and the veterans. I believe that we have to look at other funding sources for infrastructure and for roads and bridges. And I believe that we have to really look hard to see what programs, if they're non-mandated programs, which programs are actually working, which programs can be done by other entities, and we have to allow those programs to be cut from the budget if we have to raise the taxes to do that.
Thank you. Frank?
You know, the St. Louis County budget is actually, I would say, one of the best budgets in the state of Minnesota. We are, as I said, effective and efficient. For nearly 10 years prior to my joining the board, there were cuts every year. There were decreases in federal funding, decreases in state funding, and they all trickled down to us, and so we cut services to people. We cut our staff by 300 or 400 people over that time. And now, as we become able to just creep up just a little bit, we're starting to do a better job of our roads, a better job in protection of the people here and safety. And we are working really hard to assure that people across this county have a social safety net that works for them.
Thank you. Our next question is, what can the county board do to address homelessness in the county? And we begin with you, Frank.
You know, I went to the Homeless Connect event today, and I listened to people talk about the issues that they have. One of the issues, obviously, is the affordability of housing, the cost of utilities and taking care of it. To my surprise, another piece that's really hard for homeless people is that landlords are now charging from $30 to $50 to $100 for checks on the people when they come to apply. I think we need to look at that. We need to look at affordability. We need to assure and build on, as I have long been involved in assuring that there is more moderate and low-income housing, but also a broad band of housing for all people in this community.
Thank you. Jim?
When I was a member of the Housing Authority for 6 years, I also was appointed by Mayor Ness to the Housing Authority. I was the chairman of the board for 3 years. During that time, we put together several of the new housing places that are in Duluth today, such as the Village Place, San Marco, MacV, the Firehouse Flats, Harbor Highlands, and several of the other ones. But I think it goes farther than housing. I think it's a multidimensional problem, and we have to address it with looking at the mental health, the medical field. We have to have short-term emergency housing. We have to have transitional housing. We have to have a distribution center so that they can get food and clothing. So I believe as a county commissioner, you have to work with all the entities that do all the work for the housing.
Thank you. Our next question, how will you balance the trade-offs between recreational interests or opportunities and economic interests? And we start with Jim.
I guess I'd need a clarification on the question.
I think we're talking about the balance of recreation, trails, parks, that sort of thing, as compared to, and balancing that with economic interests. I think we're talking about lands that might be, some people want to have like a ski trail on, and other people might want to have something that's,
So you're talking like Friedenberg Township?
that's a good example.
Okay. Again, I think we have to, St. Louis County is such a gorgeous county. It's just absolutely beautiful, and we have a lot of green spaces. And we have to protect those things. We have to be good stewards of our land. We have to allow the recreation to happen. On the other hand, we have to allow industry in. And so we have several federal, state, and tribal bodies that will help regulate the economics of the land. If you have a situation like we do in Friedenberg Township, we have to have the people to work together. And I think that that was the answer for Friedenberg Township. I think that putting the people in charge to work as neighbors in an area is also really valuable. Thank you.
Frank?
No, this obviously is an issue that across northeastern Minnesota is of concern. The push for that people do want their outdoor recreation, and we also want jobs. And figuring out the balance between those is a really important piece of what we need to do. For me, that really is dependent on each individual case. And I really look to the case and the issues related to it as to whether or not we should be protecting land, selling it for development, using it in multifaceted ways. So I think it depends on the situation. And we will have lots of those situations as we go forward, whether it's logging or mining or recreation or local development.
Thank you. Next question. How do you propose to keep county infrastructure up to date and in good repair? And this time we start with you, Frank.
Well, obviously, a piece of this is spending money on it. You can't keep the infrastructure up to date if you don't spend money on it. And as we pointed out, this year, we again squeeze things to fit within a budget and make it work. But we know that we are behind in fixing up our roads. And we're going to have to come up with ways, new methods, but also new resources to actually make those roads what they need to be. And as Jim suggested, half of them are gravel and half of them are paved. Paved are more expensive to take care of. So you have all these things. And then our bridges, we have a huge number of bridges. What do we do with those? But we also have buildings. One of the things we've been very good at is repairing those and making them energy efficient.
Thank you. Jim?
We seem to get this question at every forum. Our roads are an issue, there's no doubt about it. I'm not one to increase taxes because we have to remember that we have people in this county that can't afford any more taxes. They're living on a shoestring. My suggestion is we have to go to the state and the federal government and we have to lobby them to get more funding. We were asked, I think it was for the D&T or whoever, do we want to have a gas tax? Do we want to have a title tax? Do we want to have this tax? Do we want to have that tax? A tax is a tax. I don't believe we can do it by taxes. We do have a lot of roads. We do have a lot of bridges, over 600 bridges that have to be taken care of. We're going to have to prioritize them and to work on them in the order of the priority.
Next question. We're kind of switching from the roads and bridges and money, and want to know what qualities will you bring to the job of county commissioner? And we start with Jim.
What qualities do I bring to the board? I have worked on, like I said, the Housing Authority Board. I have worked with Center City Housing. I have worked with Land Trust, several different groups that are focused on housing in Duluth. I have worked with the Charter Commission. I've worked on the Duluth Edison School Board. I've coached several sports. So I know how to be a team player. I know how to work with people to get things done and to accomplish what seems to be impossibility. I believe that I'm the best candidate because I can work with other people. I am open to other people's opinions.
Thank you. Frank?
No, I probably could list the things I've done over the years, but I think the question really at its heart is about what are those values that we hold, that we will use in assuring that we are good governors for the county. And for me, that's about accountability, about trustworthiness. It's about really citizen response to questions people have, concerns they have. It is about being a good steward of dollars, and it's about being smart about those dollars and doing it in ways that we use them well. But we also should never be in this position where I'll never raise money because I'm against that. We need to raise the money we need, and we need to do it in a way that doesn't hurt our citizens.
Thank you. What measures would you support to protect the environment in the county? And Frank, we start with you.
You know, a piece of this is really carefully looking at what's out there and what we have. You know, as we both said, we live in one of the most beautiful counties in the country. It is also one of the most water-rich counties in the whole country. It's a place where watching those water resources and the environment that protects them is really important. So for me, it is looking to what we're doing in the area of clean water, what we're doing in the way of air quality, but also it's about teaching ourselves and our youth about what are the best practices, the best ways to do this, and to start acting on them.
Thank you. Jim?
As a county commissioner, we have timber sales we can do. We can do reforestation. We can do some water but cleanliness. But really it's a federal and a state issue. We can support the issues that come up, but as a county commissioner, we have to work within the barriers that are put up for us. I'm sure that we all would like to see clean water and we'd all like to see clean air, and some of that just isn't what we do. So what I would support is reforestation on the timber sales, and as much as we can do within our guidelines for the county.
Thank you. At this point, I think we will mix things up a little bit and do a lightning round of subjects. The candidates will be given 1 or 2 word topics and asked to give a top-of-the-head response in 15 seconds. I will select the subjects from a previously provided list, and we will alternate with responses. So we will be starting with Jim. And increase in elderly population.
We have to work with the increase of the baby boomers, and we have to find the funding to work with the programs that we have now, but we all know that they're going to be increased.
Frank?
Same question.
Yes, same question.
So for years, eastern Minnesota has had a growing population of the elderly. We need to assure as a county that we provide for seniors in the ways we can, but we also have to realize that there's an increase in young people.
Thank you. Jumping around. Tax forfeited properties. Frank?
Well, tax forfeited property, as anybody who's watched the news recently, is a hot topic in St. Louis County. We manage it, and what people want to do with it varies greatly. I'm in favor of being a good manager and a good steward.
Thank you. Jim, tax forfeited properties.
Tax forfeited properties are one of the big issues in St. Louis County. What we have to do is allow the bidding process, and I believe that whoever can come up with the highest bid should be able to own a piece of property.
Thank you. This time we'll start with you, Jim, and it's resolving conflicts.
I think if you work with the other county commissioners, they'll work with you. I don't think that there would be a whole lot of conflicts that way.
Frank?
Well, that, of course, depends on the other county commissioners working with you. So if they don't, it's a difficult thing. I would say that I've always been willing to work with anybody, and I'm happy to do that. But I think sometimes conflicts are part of the life.
Thank you. Frank, we'll start with you on this one. Polymet.
Well, Polymet is, and this is a classic, is an issue for the state and the federal government. That's who's dealing with it. County has not a bit to do with it.
Jim, your thoughts?
Commissioner Jewell is correct. It's a state and a federal project, but the county did have a resolution, and Frank did vote against the resolution.
Thank you. This is going to be our last one, and we'll start with Jim, and it's logging on public lands.
Well, again, we have to be good stewards of our land, and if we do log the public lands, we have to reforest those public lands and have those public lands available for my children and my grandchildren.
Frank?
You know, logging on public lands, there's 1 million acres, we ought to do it. And just so everybody knows, yeah, there was a vote on Polymet. And I said it was a state and federal issue, and they should have left it there.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to go back to our questions, and Frank, you will answer first. And the question is, what measures would you support to promote public health in the county?
Well, I think a piece of supporting public health is really getting people healthy. So whether that's the county staff or other members, fighting obesity, working to decrease drug use, working on diabetes, all of those are issues where we can have very real impact as a county, where our public health department is at the forefront of those discussions, whether it's opioid use or it's diabetes. We can do that. We also have the Healthy Babies program, which works with moms to bring babies into this world and care for them in ways that are really strong and positive.
Thank you. Jim?
I got a question first. Timekeepers, do we have a minute, or what are we
1
doing
minute.
right now? 1 minute? Thank you.
1 minute.
Well, I think that public health is, again, a multifaceted program that's going to need a lot of coordination. We do have everything from mental health issues to chemical dependency to homelessness. All of these things are public health issues. Right now, we have organizations like San Marco working with chemical dependency, the Birch Tree, which will be working with mental health, the Steve O'Neill apartments that will be working with the homeless. And what we have to have in the county is we have to have good coordination between all of these programs to ensure that nobody falls through the cracks and that everybody gets the services that they need and deserve.
At this time, I'm going to read a question that was brought up from the audience because I feel it kind of falls under this category of public health. And the question is, what sort of a plan should the county commission have in place to protect from an Ebola outbreak or other health emergency? And I believe we start with you, Jim.
I think you would have to work with several organizations, not just the county. You would have to work with emergency response for the county, for the city, for the state. You'd have to coordinate all of that. When I was in the military, we did exactly that. We did have hazmat training, and I know that it's a big issue today, and I think that some of that is already in place. At least it was when I was in the military. So, and we worked with the city, and we worked with the county, and we worked with the state for that stuff. So I think we have to work as a coordinated effort between everybody.
You. Frank?
No, I think what happened in Texas really has brought everybody's attention to this. We have 2 people who became sick after taking care of a patient. Both of them health workers. They moved around in the community, and so the clarity with which public health departments, state public health departments of health are starting to look at this is important. And just today, our Director of Public Health and Human Services sent out a notice about our interest in coordinating and building. What Jim has pointed out is an effort that has to bring in our medical clinics, our people, our EMTs, just a whole host of people to work together to make this plan work.
Thank you. How can the county board work more effectively with other government agencies? And Frank, we start with you.
One of the things I ran on 4 years ago, and I continue to believe, is that working with others is and other government entities is one of the best ways we can provide government services. So I worked really hard to assure that we consolidated our assessment services, taking over Duluth's. We've also worked hard to see that the Sheriff's Department and the Police Department are co-housed, that they work together. Beyond that, I have worked within the region to reach out to other governmental agencies, both cities and counties, to work together to promote and really tell the story of this region as a fabulous place to live, to work, to raise a family, and to start a business.
Thank you. Jim?
Could you repeat?
Yes. How can the county board work more effectively with other government agencies?
I think that to work with other government agencies, we have to show the other government agencies what we have to offer. I think that if we can show them the reason we need to have, let's say, funding from the state or the federal government, what we have to offer in return, that will help them to work with us. I think that we, again, in the county, if you're looking at working with the city of Duluth or the city of Hermantown, I think that the county right now is doing a good job of working with the cities that are around Duluth. But I think that we really have to bring a value to the other government agencies because we're competing for the funding just like every other county is.
The next question, whether or not you support raising taxes, do you have any ideas on how to raise additional revenue to meet county needs? And we start with Jim.
I am opposed to raising taxes. I don't know that we can cut taxes. I'd like to maintain taxes. Things this county can do is timber sales. We make money off timber sales. Forfeiture land and land sales, we make money off of that. When we have services other counties utilize, we make money off of that. I think that you have to look at alternative funding, and I don't believe that we need to be raising taxes every year or every 2 years or every 3 years. I think that we have to work within our budget and maintain our budget. That's what every household in Duluth has to do.
Thank you. Frank?
Of course, every household in Duluth also looks for a better job, a raise in wages when they see the cost of living. So we all try and expand our budget if we can. Not all of us can. And in Duluth, I think, and in St. Louis County, our very best way to increase money that we have is to build a place that people want to live. And the more people who live here, the more people who build a house here, the more people who raise a family here, the more money that will be available to us in taxes, and both property and taxes that go to the state and come back to us. So that's probably our very best way to increase the resources we have at our fingertips.
Thank you. This will be our last question. What is your philosophy about lobbying for tax dollars from the state and federal governments? And Frank, you get to start first.
Well, we obviously have to be really strong advocates for our county, our cities that are in this county, but also for the whole region, and assuring that both the federal and the state governments give us our due. For every dollar we pay out in taxes, we get about 65 cents on the dollar back. Where does that other 35 cents go? Places like Texas, where they don't have a decent health care system, and we're paying for all those people and their health care. I'd like it to come back to us, and we could use it really well.
Thank you. Jim?
Well, if lobbying is a bad thing, it's a necessary evil. We have to lobby the federal government and the state government. My figures were 35 cents comes back to us and 65 cents stays away from us that we send, but it's a big number, that's for sure. And what we have to do is, as I said before, we have to show the value of St. Louis County, because we are competing for dollar with every state lobbyist and every federal lobbyist that we go see. So we have to bring our A game down there, and we have to show them that we deserve it more than the next person deserves it. And so that's my philosophy, is that we have to go hit them with the best plan we can to get the money that we need.
Thank you. At this time, we will ask each candidate to give a 1-minute closing statement, and Frank, you will start.
You know, I have served and been proud to serve the citizens of St. Louis County for the last 4 years. It's been an exciting and a great learning experience for me, both in learning what the county has, what it provides, and how it can do it better, but equally what wonderful employees it has, what wonderful citizens it has. I'm looking forward in this run to getting people's support for my candidacy, for voting for me, and for having another 4 years in office, bringing what I think are values that I mentioned: accountability, trustworthiness, and integrity to the county board.
Thank you. Jim?
Well, I started my campaign by knocking on doors, and I'm still knocking on doors. I've knocked on over 4,000 doors. And when I'm talking to the people that are in the first district, I'm finding out that taxes is an issue for them. I'm finding out that being a contentious board is an issue for them. I'm finding out that the land sales down on Park Point are an issue for people. I'm finding that you have to be present as a commissioner for your constituents. I'm the best person for this job because I know how to be present at the meetings. I know how to listen to my constituents. I may not know all the answers, but I know where I can go to find those answers. I'll work hard for you, and all I ask is that you vote Booth for Duluth on November the 4th. Thank you.
Thank you to both of you. This concludes tonight's candidate forum for the St. Louis County District 1 Commissioner. It is our purpose in sponsoring meetings such as this to provide you with an opportunity to hear candidates discuss the issues that are important to you face to face. There is never enough time to cover all of the issues in limited time settings such as this. If your questions were not addressed, you should feel free to contact the candidates directly. We hope this program has helped you learn more about the candidates and the issues so that you can make an informed choice at the polls on Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th. Both candidates have agreed to be available in the hallway following this forum for a short period of time. To find out more about your precinct and where to vote, you can stop by the League of Women Voters table in the hall or go to www.mnvotes.org. That is mnvotes.org. You can go to this webpage to obtain personalized information based upon where you live. Just click on Finding Polling Place, then enter your zip code, and on the following page, your house number and street address. If it applies, be sure to preference your street or avenue with a direction north, south, east, or west. The web page will display information specific to your designated precinct. Again, if you would like assistance, League of Women Voter members are located at the table outside to help you. Tonight's forum was filmed, and a link to the online posting will be provided on the League of Women Voters Duluth website at LWV Duluth, all one word, .com. This forum will also be shown on PACT Channel 7. And to get that listing, visit the PACT schedule on, it will be on the Duluth website, the League of Women Voters Duluth website. I'd also like to mention that you are welcome to stay for the next forum immediately following, where the state representatives from 3 different districts in this area will be present. And on October 21st, State Representative District 7A, we will have a forum in Lakeside Community Club. And on Tuesday, October 28th, we will be sponsoring a Secretary of State candidate forum viewing event. It will be televised at the atrium of Zeitgeist Arts Building downtown. Again, we need to stress that the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan volunteer organization organized at the local, state, and national level. While we, as the League, do study and take stands, we do not endorse or support political parties or candidates. Again, the views expressed in this forum are those of the candidates, not of those of League of Women Voters. Additionally, sponsorship of this forum is not an endorsement by the League of Women Voters Duluth of any of the individual candidates who participate. We do encourage our members as individuals, as we encourage each of you to become civically involved in your community and the political party of your choice. If you would like to become a supporting member of the League of Women Voters Duluth, please stop by our table in the hall or visit us on Facebook or online at lwvduluth.org. We thank the candidates, the City of Duluth, and you for making this event possible. Thank you for coming, and remember to vote for the candidate of your choice on Election Day, November 4th. Thank you.